Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is February 16th, 9 a.m. Eastern, and we have what looks like a bearish pre-market for SPY, but in reality, we're trading right now where we closed yesterday. So we were set for a potential gap up, but that has been erased. So there's definitely some downward momentum right now. And in order to change this trend, the bulls are going to have to regain all 5-minute moving averages as support and start forming 5-minute higher lows and higher highs. The RSI right now is approaching oversold. So we'll see where that RSI stands as we head into the open. The hourly RSI has been cooling off with this pre-market consolidation. So when we opened pre-market, the hourly RSI was at 75. And here we are cooling off that hourly RSI all the way to 60. And we're going to be testing the hourly 20-period support if we continue to pull back. So what this does is it cools things off and allows the bulls to easily see continuation in terms of not being overbought if we do see the bulls turn things around on the 5-minute time frame. So had we started this morning up in the 274s and we're going to be looking for a gap up, we would be much more overextended than what we have right now. So going to be watching, obviously right now the bears have momentum as long as the 5-minute chart keeps forming lower highs and lower lows, and as long as these moving averages are resistance. So we'll keep an eye out for the bulls to change this, but what it's going to be doing is setting up a lot of top fishing potential plays. And you can look at individual names and watch their high of yesterday. So just looking at Apple high of yesterday, 173.09. If it cannot break that level, we will be looking for a potential bearish entry for healthy consolidation on the daily time frame that is due in these markets and in a lot of these individual names. If Apple does begin consolidating, we'll look for the tech sector to begin to consolidate, and then we'll look for the market to begin to consolidate as a result of that. So that's why Apple is such a big name to be keeping an eye on. We got Amazon. It's going to be opening $12 below the high of yesterday. So utilize those resistance levels, the high of yesterday, key resistance. And if the bulls cannot break that level, we're not going to see much of a bullish day. That's essentially what it boils down to. Checking in on the daily time frame. Again, we have a strong bull move 5 days in a row now. And we broke the lower high pattern, but doesn't mean we're just going to see a clear breakout as we are due for daily consolidation. And we're going to be watching the daily middle Bollinger Band resistance if the SPY bulls can break the high of yesterday, 273.04. The odds do favor the bulls' ability to break that level because, again, we're opening right below that level right now, and we are oversold on the 5-minute. So daily middle Bollinger Band will be the next resistance level in the upper 274s if the bulls are able to break that high of yesterday. And again, same thing as all these individual names. If SPY cannot break 273.04, that is a clear red flag for the bulls for today. Reminder, we do not have trading on Monday. So options, if you're trading options next week, that's going to be one less day. That means that they're going to have more volatile movements with that time decay factored in. So checking in on the dollar here, we did dump down to lower lows. So a bear break occurred, but the bulls bought the dip and are forming a bullish reversal candlestick. So we see the 4-hour oversold bounce. 4-hour chart has to form a higher low and a higher high for us to believe that the bulls are regaining control on the daily time frame, because we did drop to the lowest price. The dollar this morning just hit the lowest price that we've seen since all the way back in pretty much December 2014 or early 2015. So 3 years, essentially, the lowest price. But like I said, the bulls do have some momentum in their favor buying that dip right now. Gold, opposite candlestick, seeing an upper wick of profit taking. Pulling back, the 4-hour time frame is higher lows as long as 14. Make that 1348 holds. 1348 is the key support level. And if that level is lost, then we will see daily consolidation on gold after 5 green days in a row. Oil, bearish candlestick. Again, both gold and oil have a completely inverse correlation and a completely inverse candlestick to what the dollar is doing on the daily time frame. So it's looking like the top of this oil bounce, maybe 61.87. 4-hour higher lows are still intact as long as 59.70 holds. The bulls have a lot of space before getting to that level. So overall, the uptrend is still intact. This is just some healthy consolidation at this point, and it all depends how significant of a bounce is the dollar going to see on the daily time frame. Natural gas, bulls unable to follow through from the inventory report of yesterday, still very weak. Bear flag close to being confirmed. If we drop below 253, the bear flag will confirm, and the next support level, there isn't one. So we don't have any supports to be watching. We'll be watching 250 psychological, and we can be watching natural gas, not the futures contract, because there's just no history at this level in the futures contract. But as far as the natural gas spot price goes, there is still some support there. So we'll keep an eye on the spot chart for natural gas, but going to be rolling over to the next futures contract shortly, probably to start next week. So keeping an eye on that. And right now, SPY is dumping pre-market. 5-minute RSI is 25, big bear volume. So definitely a shift in momentum from where we opened, and we're going to be watching to see, are we looking for that bear day? We got some bear action yesterday first thing. The bulls turned it around with a V-shaped recovery. I'm going to be looking for some bearish action again. It's the same game plan for me in the sense that I'm not comfortable going bullish on the daily charts at these levels, so I'm sitting there and scouting bearish opportunities. If I do not get bearish opportunities, I probably won't do much trading. If I do get those bearish opportunities, that's the direction that I'm going to be looking in. Checking out cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency right now, Bitcoin's in a channel where we have support down at 9,730 and a double top of resistance at 9,974 and 9,968. So clearly the bulls have to break this double top to see any kind of bounce play out. The 4-hour consolidation is currently underway, but still healthy overall. No red flags at this point. We do have an hourly inside bar currently forming, or I should say a 4-hour inside bar, but still 2 hours left there. So I'm watching that 15-minute channel on Bitcoin and certainly watching the correlation with Litecoin. Look at these Litecoin bulls. This is the 15-minute descending triangle pattern. So look at the base of support built multiple times, holding 1, 2, 3, 4 holds of support with lower highs the entire time. Clear bull break. Higher low established now in the 15-minute at 218.84, and the bulls are trying to see a break of 224 to see continuation. I'm still holding a partial position of Litecoin from yesterday, and now this will be my stop level down at 210, and just giving it more wiggle room, again, because I really like the way that the 4-hour chart looks. Healthy bull flag of consolidation. You could call it a pennant as well. Either way, the bulls are showing up. The hourly bull MAC decross following through. And I just like the hype and the momentum around Litecoin right now, so I want to be in a position. Daily chart inside bar is very likely to form today, but as long as that 210 levels hold, the bulls are definitely in control of Litecoin. And checking the Litecoin to Bitcoin chart, this is the LTC BTC chart. The hourly time frame has a higher low and a higher high now. Big spike in bull volume, and we're looking for the 4-hour time frame to start forming higher lows and higher highs to shift all that momentum back to the bulls and give us another bull MAC decross. That's the goal for LTC BTC heading into the weekend. Ethereum is definitely still the weakest name. The hourly chart is very choppy. And what I mean by that is we had a break. We had a equilibrium pattern with a break of the lower highs, and then we broke the higher lows right after it. This is a lot of choppy action. Ethereum has clearly been the weakest of the three over the past week or so, and I'm not interested in Ethereum until it starts to show me signs that it is seeing some significant recovery. So I've been trading only Bitcoin and Litecoin the last few days, and right now my attention's on Litecoin due to the strong start this morning, and we'll see if this 15-minute higher low pattern can keep up. Need to see the Bitcoin bulls break this double top because there's certainly still a correlation with Bitcoin and Litecoin, and this would benefit the Litecoin bulls if Bitcoin can make that bull break. So plays I'm watching today, LABD. Let's see if we get this consolidation again. I'm not going to be forcing any bearish trades. The only bearish trades I'm going to be making are going to have clear tight stops nearby. LABD looking for a bounce, the low of 321 from yesterday. And if we cannot break the high on XBI of 92.95, we'll be looking for LABD to have a bounce day. Also going to be watching the Canadian MJ sector, which is likely to see bear breaks today. All the Canadian MJ sector is reacting to a bit of bearish news. There was bullish news and bearish news, but it looks like bearish news is overwhelming here, just in the sense that legalization is going to take a couple months longer than anticipated. On the grand scheme of things, you know, if you're a long-term investor, this doesn't really mean much. But if you are a trader, it is definitely going to affect the short-term action. And we were so tight in this daily pattern that we're likely to see bear breaks from this pattern, although still a ways to go. 26.12 key support on WEED, and we're currently $1 above that here pre-market, so not a whole lot of concern just yet. But the bears definitely have some momentum in their favor, and we're still in a no trade zone as long as we're in this tight pattern, and I'm just waiting for a break, which the break is currently favoring the bears due to the start this morning. So I will be looking at the potential to short MJ. MJ has been benefiting from the market strength. Even while the most Canadian MJ names are trading sideways, MJ has still seen some strength and follow through, even more so than those big three charts have. So I will be looking bearish on MJ if I see bear breaks of the individual big three, and if I see the market begin to consolidate and start to form some red like we are looking for, healthy SPY consolidation. Checking in on 5-minute and hourly time frames. And we will start it off. Let's look at Google and Amazon. So Google's holding up pretty well. The high of yesterday was 1094. We're going to test that high of yesterday first thing. Again, if we cannot break that level, we look at it as top fishing opportunity. So that resistance will be tested first thing. Support, hourly moving averages supports for most names. The 200 period and the 20 period are lining up near each other for a lot of names. And we're going to be looking at the hourly 20 period of support, which has been holding for a few days. That's at 1088. So that's where we're keeping an eye on Google. And all about the high of yesterday being tested first thing. Amazon is seeing a much weaker open. Amazon has been one of the lead tech bulls, but this is a lot of weakness first thing for Amazon. The low of yesterday, 1437, is key support. Hourly time frame testing moving averages and losing the 20 period. That is notable. Amazon has been holding the 20 period hourly support for all 5 days of this bounce. So losing it is something to keep an eye on. And Amazon, again, it's just the low of yesterday as support from where we stand. But if we head into the open with 5-minute RSI oversold, we will be looking for a short-term bounce. And these moving averages have to become support if the bulls are going to do anything to turn this trend around. So all of these individual names have to regain their 5-minute moving averages as support for us to be looking at the bulls to have some control today. Facebook down at the low of pre-market. Facebook has definitely been one of the weakest tech names on this 5-day bounce. The low of yesterday, 176.84, is the support to be watching. And here we are losing hourly support as well. Hourly 20 period potential to close under that level. But same thing as Amazon, 5-minute RSI is oversold. So we still have 19 minutes until the open. And depending on where that 5-minute RSI is at the open, if we start, with the RSI oversold and we see a quick flush first thing, we will be looking for a quick bounce flip. If we see an RSI that is not too extended, we'll be watching for the potential of some bearish continuation. Apple, again, has been the lead tech bull in terms of the significance of the price action of Apple on the entire market. High of yesterday, 173.09. If we cannot break that level, it's a potential top fishing play. Hourly 20 period moving average support being tested, still holding 172.02. And we'll be watching the low of yesterday of 169. If we lose that hourly moving average support, 5-minute RSI is low here as well, almost oversold. NVDA, close to that all-time high yesterday, but seeing this weakness, losing all 5-minute moving averages, 5-minute RSI approaching oversold. High of yesterday, 248.37, unlikely to break that level unless we see another complete V-shaped recovery day. And the low of yesterday's support is 241.52, as we are potentially losing the hourly 20-period support first thing this morning. Netflix was a lead bull yesterday, big move. We still have some hourly supports. Closed at the high of the day yesterday. A lower open is coming. If we cannot break 280.50, that's a potential top fishing play. And we look at the moving average support here coming down to test it. The RSI is cooling off significantly on the hourly, and 276.86 is that hourly 20 period support. So the names like Amazon that have already lost their hourly 20 period support is going to be more bearish short term than Netflix, which still has this support and the potential for it to hold. The hourly 20 period moving average, a lot of individual names held that level at their low of the day yesterday and then saw that V-shaped recovery. So it's definitely an important support level to be keeping an eye on. GVA. GVA inside bar on the daily time frame, 57.68 is resistance, looking like the potential of a gap up open. Next level, let's see, there's a gap to fill at 59.41, and then 61.32 is the next resistance level to break the lower high pattern. Anything under 61.32 is just another lower high. So it looks like a wide range here pre-market, not really getting a good sense of where we're going to open with a lack of volume. So we'll see if we fill that gap to 59.41 first thing. MEDFF, very tight at the end of the day yesterday. 5 green days in a row. 17.96 is resistance. If we cannot break 17.96, it's a potential top fishing play. And looking down at 16.95 as support, but there's support at 17.30, 17.25, and then the low of yesterday, 16.95. And in terms of resistance, if the bulls can break the high of yesterday, 17.96, they'll see continuation. But they're going to have to be bucking the trend of the sector in order to do that. Baba. Very big dump here pre-market. So high of yesterday for Baba, 189.56. Anything under that level is a lower high. Every single day on this bounce, a lot of names, not every name, some names had inside bars one of the days, but a name like Baba has had a higher high every single day of this bounce. So the first day that we don't get a higher high is notable for the start of potential consolidation. So if we can't break that high of yesterday, we're looking down at hourly support, losing the 20-period hourly support. So now we're looking down. Yesterday, 186.20 and 184.43 are a couple support levels to be watching. And it looks like we bounced right off 186.20 here pre-market first thing. Riot is dumping. Would have been nice to know that news about CNBC yesterday, releasing this investigation. Hourly RSI is oversold, 21.87. So if we dump down first thing and see a continued bearish move first thing down into the low 13s, then we can be looking for an oversold bounce flip. And also definitely watching what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin breaks to a higher high and breaks that double top, that would only benefit the bulls on any bounce attempt. So definitely a lot of downward momentum. If the bulls see a bounce, we can be looking for a bearish entry in the sense that anything under 1549 is a lower high on the 5-minute time frame, and the 20-period 5-minute resistance will be there as well. So if the bulls start the morning and see an attempt at the 20-period 5-minute, we could potentially look for a bearish entry and exit if the bulls break 1549. So a lot of top fishing setups with key resistance where we will exit if the bulls break those resistances. That's where my mindset's at today. PATV. And again, with that mindset, I'm not going to force any trades. If I don't see bearish setups that I like, I will just trade way less or not trade at all. PATV, high of yesterday, 224, and end of day support is down at 210. So that's the range to be watching, a break of 210, and we're going to look for daily consolidation, perhaps heading down. The low of yesterday was 207. So the daily middle Bollinger Band will be a key level to watch if the daily chart does consolidate. And if the bulls see a break of 224, the next resistance is 227. TEVA. Pre-market pretty sideways trading, rejected from the 200-day moving average resistance yesterday. That level is going to be about 21.39 at the open today. High of yesterday, 21.56. In terms of support, I'm looking at pre-market levels 20.95. The low of yesterday was 20.52. And let's see this hourly chart. Still holding all hourly moving averages. We would have to lose the hourly 20 period for this weakness to set in. So as long as that hourly 20 period holds, the bulls are keeping control on TEVA. XRP. Daily chart is consolidating. 4-hour chart's a pretty healthy consolidation pattern. Clear lower high and lower low support is 106. Lower high resistance is 114. But that's the kind of consolidation the bulls would prefer to see. If it has to be any kind of consolidation, that's certainly healthy. So daily chart looking to establish a new higher low. Some lower wick showing bulls buying the dip. And we will see if the bulls are able to shift the momentum. They are still forming hourly lower highs. Actually, we did get a little higher low and higher high. So the hourly momentum shift is already underway, trying for the bull MACD cross. And we'll see if the bulls can keep this hourly higher low and higher high pattern up to begin to shift the longer term time frames like the 4-hour chart back in their favor. And it won't be a red flag unless we lose 106 and see some increased bear volume. OSTK. OSTK yesterday had a big bull day. High of the day was 67.65. If we cannot break that level, it will be notable. The hourly 20-period moving average support to test on consolidation is 65.06. We have multiple hourly inside bars currently forming. A break of $66 will be bearish and will have us looking down at 65.05 as that hourly support if that hourly inside bar does break bearish. UPS. And again, just from a long-term investment perspective, if you are looking at blockchain names, UPS is definitely among one of these companies that is really actively trying to incorporate blockchain into their core business strategy. UPS support on the daily is 104.21, must hold level. Resistance is 107.42, and we're going to test that high first thing. Goal for the bulls today, break 107.86 to give us this little daily higher low and higher high. And the oversold bounce trying to follow through. After an all-out dump, we dumped about 30%, 25% from the highs here. So a decent oversold bounce opportunity. Certainly the bulls have not been participating in this market bounce. And we have to see a break of 107.86 today to try for some of that follow-through. HIVE. Strong close yesterday for the Hive bulls. Resistance is 210 and 230. Support, all these 5-minute higher lows. So 206, 201, 199. And the bulls trying to keep this uptrend. Hourly 20-period support needs to start curling up and ascending to keep up with the price. But it's all about that high of yesterday first thing. Can the bulls break 210 and see some continuation on the daily time frame? BMW. High of yesterday, 125.63. If we cannot break that level, it was a bearish reversal hanging man candlestick yesterday. We still have higher lows on the daily time frame. That breaking would be a red flag. 120.84 is that support level. So if we break 120.84, we're looking for daily consolidation and a higher low to form somewhere in the 1-teens. Twitter. Weak here, down at the lows of pre-market. Low of yesterday, 33.06, potential to be tested. And if we see a break of 33.06, we're looking at 32.55 as the next level. Hourly 20-period moving average is a resistance already, and definitely a shift from higher lows and higher highs. Now the hourly chart is showing some weakness. If we break 33.06, 32.55 is next. So key support test approaching first thing. All 5-minute moving averages as resistance. TMUS trying to keep all 5-minute moving averages as support and seeing an open right at the high of yesterday, 60.61. If we break that level, next resistance is the 100-day moving average in the 61.60s. So bulls holding on just fine. If we lose that 20-period 5-minute moving average, that's the first red flag of consolidation, especially if it happens with an inability to break the high of yesterday of 60.61. We can see the hourly chart hasn't consolidated much. Yesterday, it certainly didn't consolidate much. So if we can't break that high of yesterday and we lose a 20-period 5-minute moving average, we'll look for some consolidation. If we do break that high of yesterday, that's the ideal sign for the bulls first thing. XXII. Also starting with 5-minute moving averages as support. We rejected from the daily middle Bollinger Band resistance yesterday, and that was at 323. That daily middle Bollinger Band is going to be at about 320 today. So another test of that level is coming. If we don't break 323 on the daily, an inside bar is very likely to form today. Hourly, trying to keep all moving averages or trying to gain all moving averages as support, need to get over 313 to do so. And then we're just looking at that high of yesterday. For options, I usually take, and I describe this in the options video, the 40-minute options video on the website, but I take options that are usually one in the money or one out of the money. So that would be, if MJ's 33, I would take the 33 put, or I would take the 33.50 put, if there is a 33.50 put. I haven't looked at MJ options, but it has to have liquidity, and I don't think MJ does have liquidity. So I don't trade options that don't have liquidity. And looking at MJ, there is very low volume. So this is a name that I would not trade options on, which is why I have been shorting common shares. Doesn't mean you can't have plays, but it's just a very different kind of structure where you look at Apple options and they are tight, they are liquid, they have, a couple pennies in between the bid and the ask. And here we're going to have large spaces between the bid and the ask. And it's not ideal whatsoever, especially if you're newer to trading options. SPI. SPI closed at the high of the day yesterday, 273.04. Wait, I got the wrong ticker. SPI high of yesterday was 85. So the bulls want to break 85 first thing, then we're looking at 87 after that. So if we break 87, we'll start to break the daily lower high pattern. If we reject from 85 first thing, the low of yesterday is support at 78 cents. So key test of the high yesterday first thing, CRMD inside bar yesterday, 589 is resistance. If we break 589 and 59, next level I'm looking up at is 6. Nope, it's 599, so 60 cents essentially. So 589, 59, and 599. The next three resistances, the bulls want to continue to close above the daily upper Bollinger Band in breakout mode. All 5-minute moving averages holding as support. It would require a break of 541 to be a bear break of the daily inside bar, certainly favoring the bulls pre-market. We'll see if they can get that bull break first thing. TBP.V. Equilibrium pattern on the daily here. Must hold support is 97. Break at 97 is bearish. Resistance is 102 and 106. So we're very tight. After 97, I'm looking down at 87. PYPL, then we'll check back in on SPY as we head into the open. Closed at the high of the day yesterday, 78.30. We're going to test that resistance first thing. If we break 78.30, we're looking at 78.98 as the next resistance level. And 79 is the high of the pre-market right there. If we cannot break the high of 78.30, that is an initial red flag for potential consolidation, though hourly 20-period support still easily holding 77.89 is that level. So checking back in on SPY. Still weak. 5-minute RSI is right at oversold. So if we do see a flush first thing and the bears come out right at the open, we know to be looking for a short-term oversold bounce. The low of yesterday bounced off the hourly 20-period moving average support, and here we are testing it, 272.36. And the low pre-market is 272.36. The bulls trying to defend this level, and they have to break 272.74 to see any kind of upside right at the open. Checking in on the sectors here. And again, same thing. If XLK can't break 67.28, potential top fishing play with the tech sector pulling back. XLF is well below its high of yesterday, 29.14. So I'm keeping a close eye out for top fishing plays and inability of names to break their high of yesterday. XLE. Inside bar on the daily time frame yesterday, 68.65 is resistance and 67.19 is support. So we're still closer to a bull break than a bear break, but we're pretty far away from it. Potential for another daily inside bar to form today. If we lose all 5-minute moving averages as support, that is a more likely scenario. So opening in the middle of yesterday's trading range. And overall XLE, you look at the bounce over the last 5 days, and it is definitely one of the weaker sectors. Nowhere near the high of last week's bounce attempt, and nowhere near the kind of gains that XLK, XLF, or XBI have enjoyed on this market 5-day bounce. So we'll also be watching Riot. There's definitely going to be Riot volatility today. There's no doubt about that. The range right now on Riot is 1370 support and 1459 resistance. So day trading opportunity in Riot will be there. And the first key test for me is going to be Apple. Can Apple break 173.09? And if it cannot, then I'll be looking for some tech sector consolidation today. Checking back in on crypto, bull break of the double top on the 15-minute time frame for Bitcoin. And still haven't seen a bull break on Litecoin just yet. We're in a tightening 15-minute pattern with our high of the morning resistance and our low of consolidation support, 218.84. And SPY is heading into the open here, 5-minute RSI 25. So we can be looking for a quick oversold bounce on SPY, especially if we get a drop down under 272 right at the open. But a complete turnaround pre-market with a lot of weakness the last hour and a half. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on MJ short today for the Canadian MJ sector. And here we go. So SPY 5-minute RSI is right at 30 to start the day. And MJ has no shorts available on Fidelity. That's the first time I've seen that. No shares available to short. So there goes that play. ACB's down 7%, so we're going to be watching hourly oversold conditions now on Canadian MJ, as SPY is seeing this little bounce attempt from oversold right at the open. ACB hourly RSI is 17, just like that, so we can be looking for an oversold bounce once this initial dump wears off a bit, and just like that, we're going to see a couple percent bounce. So grabbed a little bit of ACB for an oversold bounce, just a quick flip. As we watch SPY bounce off its hourly 20-period support first thing. And we'll watch the SPY 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance. We're keeping an eye on ACBFF. So a nice bounce on ACBFF, just a quick 4%. I already scaled out half of my position. Get to Momo in just a second. And we'll see if we can get another entry on ACBFF as the hourly, or ACB I should say, as the hourly is still definitely oversold. Hourly RSI is 19. Bulls definitely need to hold the low of the day of 996 from here. So I'm keeping my eye on ACB. Let's see what that SPY bounce is doing. The SPY bounce underway, but definitely bears in control of the SPY trend as long as the 20-period 5-minute moving average is resistance. Momo. Momo, nice bull candlestick to start the day, but we had a much lower open compared to the high of yesterday, so 31.95 still resistance. And a daily inside bar is very likely for Momo with how we're standing here first thing. ROKU, big time bull move first thing. And a lot of volatility. Checking in on Riot. Riot dropped down, double bottom at the low of pre-market, 1370, 1373. That's a potential bottom fishing play on Riot right now. The odds of getting stopped out are high, but it's a very clear stop level and the potential of a double bottom that the bulls are hoping for. So SPY 20 period 5-minute moving average resistance, 273.11 and dropping. USO not really doing anything. Checking in on oil. The oil is consolidating on the 4-hour time frame and not really looking oversold on any time frame. So USO support is 1225 and resistance is 1229, but again, not a whole lot going on first thing. Canadian MJ bulls trying to bounce back towards their high of the day. Need to break to a higher high to see this oversold hourly bounce continue. Just to see the RSI levels, WEED hourly RSI is nowhere near oversold. APH hourly RSI 22, so ACB clearly taking the biggest hit this morning. Hourly RSI now 22 on ACB as well, as the bulls see a bit of a bounce. And new high of the day is an ideal scenario for Canadian MJ. SPY bulls still in control on this bounce first thing. The oversold RSI on the 5-minute time frame had us looking in this direction. And we'll see how significant a bounce we can get. And again, because we're coming off the low, the 5-minute time frame will have to form a higher low and a higher high in order for this trend to change in favor of the bulls. So I've locked in half of my ACB buy at a 2% gain, and I'm going to sit on the rest and see if we can get a new high of the day, which is being tested. And now I have a lot of comfortable wiggle room with that second half of the position after locking in 2% on the first half. LABD is seeing weakness first thing. Again, that's because the market was oversold and seeing a bounce first thing. So we're looking at the low of yesterday of 321 as the must-hold support level, and the low today is 322. So it's a double bottom at those lows, and if we break 321, that is obviously a bearish sign. In the short term, bulls would really like to hold 321 this morning. Nice move on ACB getting going now. Take a little bit more profit on ACB here. And again, keeping in mind that this is definitely bear breaks on the most Canadian MJ names here, specifically ACB, so I am just treating this as a short-term trade. NVDA all-time high looks to be coming here. And we did get an all-time high today on NVDA. So SPY bulls still bouncing. LABD did break that support level. And we're watching SPY's 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance. So you can see how my game plan completely shifted, where I was looking bearish and talking bearish, and then when I saw the 5-minute RSI at oversold heading into the open, we were looking for the bull flip because of those conditions. So now we're still watching all of these individual names. Can they break their high of yesterday? So Apple right now is at its high of yesterday. We'll see if it's able to break that level or if it rejects. Riot, that double bottom, is holding beautifully. Significant follow through, double bottom and break of the 5-minute lower highs. And up about 5% from that double bottom. I just locked in all of my ACB. That was an unexpected trade. I wasn't planning on a Canadian MJ flip that quickly. So locking that in, and that's just a day maker right now. Get that out of the way, and now if I don't trade anything else for the rest of the day, that's just fine, so I can be a bit more picky. So SPY, still strong. I'm going to backtest the 20-period 5-minute moving average as support. Apple is still at this double top. That resistance again is actually, it looks like we did break it. 173.09. We broke it by 18 cents or so. So it is the tech sector and the biotech sector seeing some green, and the financial sector slightly red. Tesla bullish start to the day. We closed at the high of the day yesterday, and we broke that high of the day first thing. So now we have both moving average resistances. The 200 and the 20-day moving average resistance are both lining up in the 337s. So that's the next resistance, and that's the goal for the bulls to close above today. So keep in mind the SPY bulls are in the green. Even though we had all that weakness pre-market, we did break that high of yesterday already. And we're looking at the daily middle Bollinger Band, 274.57 on SPY. But we still need the SPY 5-minute higher low and higher high to be fully convinced that these bulls are regaining this trend in their favor. So NVDA only has psychological resistances at these levels. And now the question is, who's going to be the next name to get an all-time high? Netflix and Amazon are fairly close, but certainly not looking like they're going to do that today. Now Riot's over 15, so that double bottom getting a lot of follow-through. But again, I would be looking to take some profit, at least partial positions, because we are fighting a lot of bearish momentum. So that play for me on ACB was the fact that it was a gap down and the fact that the hourly RSI was 17. That's just an automatic buy for me in terms of entering a position. And the gap down made it significant. 8% lower open. So SPY currently some healthy back test of consolidation. Litecoin bulls heading to higher highs this morning. So nice bull break at 224. Next key resistance is 226 on Litecoin as Bitcoin is changing the trend back in favor of the bulls on the 15-minute and the hourly time frame. So NVDA is the lead bull today. Facebook still struggling. Day after day, Facebook is the only red tech name on my screen. And now Apple just went red as well, just barely. Going to be watching volume. The bears need to see increasing bear volume on SPY. So checking in on these Canadian MJ daily charts, WEED is still in my no trade zone. We still continue to bounce around in this range the last few days. Bear break on APH today by losing 1487 support. And bear break on ACB losing 1050 support. So 2 out of the big 3 have broken bearish from my no trade zone. And we'll see if WEED, the sector leader, follows along later next week. So let's see if there's any individual names that did not break their high of yesterday. A lot of names did. Let's see who did not. Netflix did. Amazon did not. Amazon is a top fishing play with the high of yesterday resistance, 1469. Let's see, Facebook. Facebook did not break the high of yesterday. So instantly those 2 names are standing out as weaker compared to all the names that have broken their high of yesterday. So we have a new range on SPY to be watching, 272.62 support and 273.43 resistance. Baba has not broken the high of yesterday. And Baidu just barely broke the high of yesterday. So Baba, Amazon, and Facebook, 3 names that have not broken their high of yesterday and are setting up for potential daily inside bars. Decent mix of red and green on the screen right now. Almost about half and half. Canadian MJ has a pretty set range right now. Break of the high of the day will be bullish and break of the low of the day will be bearish. Range established in the first 15 minutes of trading. ROKU definitely continuing that short squeeze. Good call first thing. And we had that double top bull break at 46.10. Big time follow through from that break, and the next resistance is 48.99 before we look to fill a gap at 50.21. But of course, we're overextended with the 5-minute RSI 87. So if not in ROKU, I would potentially be looking in the other direction, but waiting until we see weakness, perhaps the 2-minute time frame losing higher lows. 2-minute time frame hasn't even consolidated, so definitely a short squeeze. So SPY, that hourly 20 period, still holding strong. Don't forget yesterday, the first test of that level, the low of the day, held it. And if SPY bulls get a new high of the day here, they're going to tell us that they are not done yet. See if the lead bull NVDA can get over this 250 psychological resistance. And we're also watching CMG still needing to fill that gap to the upside at 293. 293.55 is the daily gap on CMG. So LABD seeing weakness because SPY is following through with this oversold bounce first thing. And at this point, if SPY doesn't see a new low of the day, the bulls are going to hold control all day today. So Amazon, it's all about that high of yesterday. And of course, the high of today as well. So 1465.80 resistance and then 1468.94 resistance. 5-minute candlesticks with lower highs, but bulls still holding on. A lot of choppy action the last 20 minutes, and SPY is doing the same thing. Red, green, or I should say green, red, the last 20 minutes on these 5-minute candlesticks. Amazon is pretty much a mirror of what SPY is doing on the 5-minute. And just like Apple and SPY as well. Big time correlations out there. In general, gap down with an hourly RSI under 20 is a good buy, but you have to be aware of the situation because it's normally going to happen on news, and depending on the news, it could definitely lead to extreme oversold RSI levels. In the case of Canadian MJ here, I knew the news, and it wasn't significant enough for me to be looking for an all-out collapse. So the fact that we did open down 8% on that news, that is the reason that I made that entry. So it's definitely important to know what the news is, to know how extreme those RSI levels can get. But I was watching ACB comparative to the rest of the sector, and it seemed way overdone comparatively, down multiple percent more than any other name. SPY bulls still hovering just under the high of the day. So Apple hitting a new high of the day definitely puts favor on the SPY bulls. Only helps. There goes Litecoin. Bull break at 226. We're up at 227. Next level is 229. So here's SPY new high of the day. We'll see if individual names can follow through, these names that have not broken their high of yesterday yet. But you can see Apple is clearly running strong, And that was a little heads up. Apple breaking bullish led, or was a little lead indicator, and SPY now following. Next, Apple resistance 174.24. And looking at the SPY daily candlestick, the current daily candlestick says the bulls are not ready to consolidate yet. We'll see how this daily middle Bollinger Band goes at 274.58 if the bulls can make it up to those levels. But again, I don't like many individual bullish setups here. Apple definitely has a lot of momentum, but in terms of, looking at Amazon and Google and these names, it's just not beneficial setups where I am personally comfortable. Tesla bulls up at the high of the day. They've got these moving average resistances on the daily chart to be watching, and they are trying to close here or better, 337.50 or better. And the next price resistance is the bounce attempt from last week and the lower high on the daily chart way up at 348.62. So there's a lack of resistance at these levels, but it also has a long way to go for Tesla to change this daily trend. But as far as today goes, bulls certainly still have some momentum and trying to see a new high of the day. SPY is seeing some resistance, 273.43, 273.40, 46, 44. So 4 out of the last 5 candlesticks have rejected in the 273.40s. Let's check back in on ROKU on that short squeeze. Still going. No sign of weakness. And that 2-minute time frame did establish a new little support at 47.70. And that resistance on the daily chart, 48.99, is approaching. So watching these SPY 273.40s as resistance. We'll see if the bulls can clear that hurdle, but it's definitely a hurdle to be watching right now. And support is down at 272.62. LTC is at 229 resistance. Next level after that is 233.35. So SPY's coming down to test its support after all those resistances, so that's another potential top fishing play. SPY 273.40s as a key resistance level. And we're going to need to see some tech sector weakness. The tech sector is the major reason behind this bounce the last 5 days. Facebook, higher low trying to form. So support is 178.75 and then 178.51. Inside bar on the daily time frame is likely today unless the bears really take over. SPY currently holding support. And this tech sector is just so darn strong, it's not really going to allow for much SPY weakness unless we see the tech sector go red. LABD is still lower highs on the 5-minute time frame. 323 is resistance, a little double top at that level at this point. If we get a 5-minute higher low and higher high, that will be the shift in momentum that we're looking for. XBI is nowhere near the low of the day currently. Keeping an eye on SPY. If we see SPY break 272.62, we're looking at the low of the day is 272.27. And obviously, if SPY hits a new low of the day, that's only going to help LABD. So SPY is within its range. Held that support level by 5 cents. And Ride giving back all those gains from that quick pop. So when you're changing, when you're fighting the trend, and that double bottom even broke, when you're fighting the trend and it's clear bearish sentiment, you're definitely a lot quicker to lock in profit. And that's why ACB is now down 5% from the high of the day. I was locking in profit on ACB because it was a clear bear break on the daily. It just happened too fast. So I was playing the short-term bounce. So same thing with Riot. We were getting crushed on bearish news. There's a lot of bearish sentiment. We had a nice double bottom and a bounce play out, but we need to be locking in this profit quickly because it's fighting the trend. If we're with the trend, like LTC, I'm letting LTC ride a lot longer because we're with the trend. When we're against the trend, I'm a lot quicker to lock in profit. Our OKU potentially forming a bearish reversal candlestick on the 5-minute time frame. Still a lot of volatility there. We're seeing 2% moves in these 5-minute candles. ACB is heading down to test the low of the day. That hourly RSI is definitely still oversold on ACB, so we'll see if we get a bottom fishing play with the low of the day. Hourly RSI is 18. So that's a play on ACB. We make an entry in the low $10 range and we exit if we get a new low of the day. Keeping in mind that WEED is at the low of the day, as is APH, so the sector is definitely bearish. So SPY is at the support test again. If it breaks, we're looking down, and it actually did just break, so we're looking down at the low of the day. We're testing this hourly 20-period support again. So it's all about 272.27 on SPY, and if that level breaks, we're looking down at the low of yesterday, which is a long way away, so that's not likely. 50-day moving average is 271.80. That will be the next level we watch. So Facebook, again, the names that did not break the high of yesterday, showing some more weakness. Facebook, new low of the day. Amazon, low of the day. Baba was another name. Low of the day. All three names that could not break their high of yesterday dumped down to lower lows. And here's now ACB testing its low of the day of 996. Again, risking 0.5% for a bottom fishing play. Odds of getting stopped out are likely. But if we don't get stopped out, odds of a solid couple percent bounce. So that's the risk to reward scenario. The risk is 0.5%. And the reward is perhaps 3%. So that's a 600% greater risk than reward, or greater reward than risk on a bottom fishing play. And if we don't see the low of the day hold, and if we do drop down into the 980s, that hourly RSI is going to be approaching single digits. So I'm going to take that trade, and I'm going to exit if we hit a new low of the day on ACB. Just entered at about 10:03. By bulls still holding the low of the day. GDX. So GDX trying to form a higher low on the 5-minute time frame. Support is 22.72 and then 22.67, and the bulls have to break the high of the day to see a 5-minute higher low and higher high to reverse that momentum for the bulls. 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance will also be a factor. UVXY seeing some bounce. Last 5-minute higher low was 1564. Resistance is 1631. Daily inside bar right now forming within the range of yesterday. The range of today is important, and then the range of yesterday also important. And LTC is just on fire, up over 232, got over 233 now. And we're going for this high. 237 was a high the other day. 237.72 to be exact. Big time bull volume. And we're looking for a 4-hour bull MACD cross again on Litecoin right after it crossed bearish. SPY heading back down again. So there's still some weakness, definitely carrying over from pre-market. The tech sector is now red, and if we see a new low of the day on the tech sector, that's only going to follow through in terms of SPY weakness. Checking in on our weakest names, Facebook 5-minute RSI is getting oversold, but it is a clear lead bear, and it told us that first thing. Amazon still hovering near the lows. And SPY is certainly not just rolling over. So SPY bulls are certainly not rolling over, and we actually haven't lost the 200-period 5-minute moving average support at any point today. We've tested it 5 times and held it 5 times. That's 272.67. So this ACB bottom fishing play is definitely working out enough in the sense that we bounced 1.5%. The risk was 0.5%. And we'll see if the bulls can get any follow through. In general, you're not going to see a stock go from overbought to oversold in the same day. I will short stocks on gap up opens if they lose their 20-period 5-minute moving average support. But I can't recall any instance where a gap up open turned into an oversold bounce play. Certainly not common. No, I don't ever go in both directions on the same stock. If I'm trading it in one direction, that's the direction I'm focused on. Nice higher low follow through on ACB. Let's see the next resistance we're going to be looking at from here. We will set a lower high compared to the high of the day. I'm going to keep this ACB position I have with a break-even stop loss because SPY bulls are showing enough strength that we could see the Canadian MJ bulls show up a little bit more significantly. So the channel right now on SPY is the 200-period 5-minute support and all of those resistance rejections in the 273.40s. As far as the lead bulls go, Google's trying to stand out now. CMG is a lead bull, filling that gap on the daily chart to the upside. And there's a lack of resistance now. 300 psychological is the next level on CMG. Amazon bull, or I should say Tesla bull, still standing out. And the Apple bull's holding strong. So if we don't get a new low of the day on SPY, the bulls are just fine. That's basically what it boils down to. If we get a new low of the day, we'll lose all 5-minute moving averages. So Google is definitely a lead bull to be keeping an eye on if we get a new high of the day on SPY. Google 5-minute support is 1098.20, and just the high of the day is resistance. So here's SPY at the high of the day, and Google's testing the high of the day as well. So Google and Apple, some lead tech bulls. SPY still battling these 273.40s. This now makes 5 tops in the 273.40s for SPY. NVDA pulled back a decent amount from the high of the day at that psychological 250 resistance. But we're still holding all 5-minute moving averages as support, and if the SPY bulls show up, it's only going to help. Resistance is 248.66, and then the high of the day. And we bounced off the 20-period 5-minute moving average support on the back test, and SPY just broke the high of the day, and we can see NVDA is responding, as is Google. So Google at the high, Apple at the high, SPY at the high. MU bull break, new high of the day. So MU on the daily time frame, breaking that resistance level. Now we're looking at 44.09, which is the high of today. So we're rejecting from a daily resistance at this point. After 44.09 is 44.72. And the daily lower high pattern is finally broken. So ACB getting very tight. Key resistance is up at 1024. So Tesla, CMG, Google, Apple, and NVDA are the strongest names I'm looking at. APH resistance is 1417. Anything under that's just a lower high. I'd like to get an entry closer to the low of the day, just like that ACB setup. That ACB bottom fishing play was ideal. The risk of an entry here on APH is, well, there's a support at 1397 you could use. But other than that, it's 1377, which is a ways away. If you made an entry on a 1417 bull break, I would use stop of 1397. But bulls aren't going anywhere if we don't break 1417. So SPY resistances are going to be pre-market levels. Last 5-minute moving average is 273.63, and then I'm looking up at 274.05. Higher highs on LTC, not done yet. Nice SPY follow through for the bulls, increasing 5-minute bull volume. So I'm going to wrap up the morning webcam here. The bulls have proven themselves on SPY. We knew to be looking for the bulls on the oversold bounce at the open, but they have formed a 5-minute higher low, holding the 200-period 5-minute moving average support on every test, and now they have the higher high. So it's back to the bulls proving themselves and remaining in control at this point. The lead bulls today are very clear in terms of the names that have been the strongest. Nice follow through on the ACB bottom fishing play, now up over 2.5%, while only risking 0.5%. So even that little trade right there, that's a 5-to-1 reward, or 1-to-5 risk to reward scenario. So hope you all have a good rest of your morning and a good Friday. I'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage in the chat room, and it is currently the tech sector, yet again, leading the way on this bounce, and the biotech sector bulls are at the high of the day as well.